everyone, Jamie Madison here. Today we're going to use the Critter Camp Out set. I'm going to use the deer, the raccoon, and the tent with the little fire. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp that on some Canson XL watercolor paper. So how is everyone's day going today? I hope everyone's having a great day. It's nice and sunny where I'm at. Hot too. But I've been really wanting to go camping lately. And these little stamp sets that I've been getting have just really made me want to go camping even more. So I'm hoping maybe me and the husband can go on a trip soon. Funny story with camping. Me and the husband, we took our dogs with us camping. We have never taken them camping with us because we decided to go camping in a tent. Where we were going is a really nice area for tent camping. And we decided to take our big tent because we were going to take our dogs with us. And I have a Dalmatian pit bull and I have a pointer pit bull. Now, the Dalmatian mix, her name is Bailey, and the pointer pit, his name is Bentley. And they are our fur children. We don't have any kids at the moment right now, so they are like our children to us. So the camping trip went great starting out with them. They got to finally swim in the lake for the first time, and one of them almost drowned because Bailey never swam before, so when she jumped in she kind of sunk for a second, and I panicked and jumped in after her, and then she popped up and she was done with the water for the rest of her life. So funny story though. So they got done swimming all day and they had fun, and they were stinky dogs after that, and silly me did not bring shampoo for them. So there was no way I was gonna be sleeping with them if I didn't have to. I didn't want to smell like a wet dog. So we did bring their kennels with us. So we just set their kennels on the outside of our tent, and it's a very nice area. We didn't have to worry about anything happening to them or any kind of wildlife. It's not that kind of an area. So we just and they have really big kennels too. You can put 2 full-size grown-ups in each kennel. So they had their beds in there with their water, and we just put their blankets in there for them, and they cozied up and they went to sleep. So me and the husband were at the campfire, and it was starting to get pretty late, so we decided we were going to go ahead and turn in for the night. And we laid down, and the dogs were asleep. So I wasn't worried about them. They weren't crying or whining or anything like that. So I fell asleep, and later that night I got woke up by some noise around the tent. So I woke the husband up because I'm a big baby. I watch zombie shows and The Walking Dead and all that. So I immediately go to apocalypse kind of setting as soon as I get woke up in a different environment and I don't know what the noise is. So I wake the husband up and I'm like, there's something outside the tent. And he's like, no, it's probably just the dogs moving in their crates. And I said, no, it didn't come from that side of the tent. And he said, well, if there's something out there, the dogs will bark and scare it away. It'll be fine. Because we do have like raccoons where we live and where we go camping. So I was like, okay. So I went back to sleep. And then I heard it again, and this time the back of the tent moved. Like something like brushed up the back of the tent. And I was like, no, there's something out there. There's definitely something out there. So right when he's about to get up and put his shoes on to walk outside to see what's going on, something jumps on top of the tent. Turns out it was my dog Bailey, the Dalmatian pit bull, somehow opened her kennel up and heard us in the tent and decided that she wanted in the tent. But mind you, when she jumped on the tent, I full on thought there was a zombie trying to break in, and I went berserk. I was scared out of my mind. We have never been tent camping since that night. That just ruined it for me. From now on, we go in the camper. I just will not do a tent, and the dogs have not gone camping with us since because of that situation. I was terrified. I don't know if any of you have like fears of silly things like zombies like I do. Even playing video games, I'm terrified of zombies. I know they don't exist. But I'm telling you, if there was an apocalypse, it would happen when I'm in a tent camping. So we don't go tent camping now. So yeah, I've been really wanting to go camping lately. Definitely not in a tent. Our tent is still sitting in our shed, not being used or loved, unfortunately. I don't know if we could go tent camping again after that ordeal, especially with the dogs. But yeah, so with this watercoloring, sorry to drag on that story. With this watercoloring, I did the tent in green because our tent is a Coleman green tent.
But on the tent, I wish I would have did the inside darker. But I did do little yellow stakes because I always remember growing up having the little yellow stakes for the tent. And on the fire, I did orange, yellow, and red. And I just blended those from red to orange to yellow to give it more of a flickering flame and some ambers. And for the wood, I did brown. And then moving on to the raccoon, I just did a gray tone for his whole body, and then black for around the eyes, and then a little light gray for his eyes. I didn't want to leave anything too white, but I didn't want to go too dark either with the raccoon. And then for his tail, I just did the pinstripe raccoon tail that they're known for. And then for the fox, I did a nice orange. And then after I went through with the orange, I went over with red, like a auburn kind of red, to just highlight some of give him some shadow. Also with this video, I know it is a longer one because not only did I watercolor the animals in the tent and fire, but I also watercolored the entire background. And I'm not quite sure how to make these videos a little bit shorter whenever I do so much watercoloring. I don't know if you would rather me just do the critters or, you know, the main thing watercolor, or do the background watercolored. I'm not quite sure how to break the video down so it's not so long. Just let me know down below in the comments what you would prefer. If you like the long videos, awesome, because I love doing watercoloring. But if you want them to be shorter, I'll have to do some, maybe like some short ones and some longer ones. Kind of do like a mixture of both so everyone gets everything that they like. But please comment below what you prefer, so I kind of know who is on board with what. So I'd really appreciate it. I went back through after my watercolor had dried, and I took that little raccoon and I got some little marshmallows so he would be roasting something over the fire, and I just stamped that down with some black Versamark as well. So after I was done coloring his marshmallows, we're going to get on to the background. So this background, I wanted to do a night sky, but I didn't want it to be super dark. I wanted there to be some like pinks and red tones in there with some purples. So I went in with the pink and just went in crisscross motions. And then I followed by the purple, doing the same thing, and the blue in like a nice like light teal color as well. And then after that, I went back in and did straight across motions in the same colors so I could just start building layers. But just make sure your watercolor is very wet. You don't want anything to be dry when you're doing this kind of background. So the object here is your crisscrosses are going to be your clouds. So it's not going to be like a straight one tone color. And then I take my big watercolor brush and I just go back over it, spreading the color equally so it blends all together, and it gives you a really nice light color sky. Now this would be a great daytime sky, but I want mine to be night. So I'm going to go in with my big brush and start putting in some clouds, some background, give it some more dimension. And then for your land area, you don't want to go straight in and do just like a straight across, you know, line for the land. You want it to be, there's going to be mountains and hills and stuff, so you want it to be a little edgy and rocky back there. So make sure it's not straight across, just give maybe one side a little bit higher, some bumps and stuff. And then I went in with a nice tan color and brown and just gave it some texture, so it looks like the scene is a little bit further back. And then I went in with some black to deepen up those colors as well. So after I finished doing the dirt area, I let this dry overnight, and then I came back in. You don't have to let it dry overnight, but I did. It was already super late at night whenever I started this, so I went back in with some black and started adding that on top of my dried watercolor. Make sure you wet down whatever you're going to be working on if it's been drying overnight or any long periods of time, because you don't want there to be harsh lines. So I'm going to go back over with my blacks and my purples and blues. I'm just trying to deepen up the sky because I want this to be nighttime, not daytime. And right now the piece kind of looks like it's almost like in the desert during the daytime. So I'm doing the same thing that I did in the beginning, except for with deeper colors to get it more of a darker night sky. And I'm just making sure that that doesn't go too far down onto my land. I do want it to be a little bit lighter towards the bottom. So I'm just adding in some more black up at the top because I really want to get my corners darker. It almost looks like it's overwhelmingly black, but that's okay because whenever I go back through it and I drag my brush back and forth, it is going to pick up that pigment, and it's not going to be so deep of a pigment at the top. So then I'm going to take a dark brown, it's almost a black, and I'm just going to drag that through the ground as well. Like I said, I want this to be evening time so the ground wouldn't be that light of a color. So I'm just dragging that through, making it darker down there at the bottom as well. Then after that, I'm going to take a red and deepen the color up too. And then after I deepen the color up on the ground, I'm going to take my brush and do some squiggly lines through it to kind of give the clouds a look again. I went ahead and let that dry for a few minutes, and then I went back in with a black and started my trees. So for my trees, I just do a straight line, and then I just pull it from the line outward, and it gives it a nice pine tree kind of effect. This works really well for any kind of forest trees, I think, at least, because these are the kind of trees I would have around here. So trees are super simple. It only takes a couple trees and you're a tree master with these little trees. So you can see I do like kind of a triangle effect, just dragging them out to the sides. So I put my tree, you can always make your trees taller, which I love this kind of design because you put your length first, and then you put in your swishes for your leaves. And then when you get to the bottom, if you feel like your tree needs to be a little bit long, just add that chunk down a little bit longer and you have a longer tree. It's all about doing more than one though. You don't want to have one usually sitting by themselves because then the tree looks a little wonky. So I always do at least two of them. And this one I did, you have one a little bit sit farther back in the scene, and then I took the same black and went underneath the trees to give them shadow as well, because there would be some deepness underneath the trees as well. And then I just darkened up the skyline that meets the ground, so it kind of gave the scene a little bit more depth to it as well. And then for the more close-up where my critters are going to be camping, I went through and just did some squiggly lines and some little dots here and there, just so it wasn't just such a bare color on the ground. I went ahead and fussy cutted out all my images, and for the tint I just used my Tombow glue, and some of it seeped out at the top, but I'm not worried about that because it'll dry clear. And I just glued that on because I don't want the tint to be popping up because it's supposed to be more in the background. So my critters and my campfire are going to be popped up. So I went ahead and added some double-sided foam tape to that, and took the backing off, and I'm just placing them, making sure that they're level with each other so one's not higher than the other. And then after I got them placed down, I went ahead and stamped Life is Better around A, and then I used my embossing powder in white and heat set that. I'm just going to put that up at the top. I didn't use foam tape, I just used double-sided tape on this one, so it would be flat as well to the card. And then I went ahead and used my tape runner gun and put adhesive vigorously on the back of this card and just lined it up with my Solar White 110 pound and lined that up and just made sure that that was adhered very well. And then I went ahead, I was going to put Life Was Better around A and then put Campfire in the inside of the card, but I kind of wanted it on the outside of the card because it almost looked unfinished. So I went ahead and did a embossing of the campfire with the same white that I used for the first segment. And then I went ahead with my Tombow glue to add some stars. I'm going to put some sequins just in clear. I'm going to go ahead and add those onto the front. And then after I'm done adding my sequins, I'm going to go in with my shimmer pen and add some shimmer to the campfire and to the tint, because the tint would be almost like a plastic, so it'd have some reflection in the background. Alrighty, so now that my card is all nice and sparkly, I'm going to go in with my glossy accents and I'm just going to put that on top of all of the sequins to give it more of a shimmery effect. Alrighty, that finishes up my card for the day. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope everyone has a wonderful day, and please subscribe to me and come back and watch the rest of my videos. Thank you. Have a great day.